Hello guys, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about just the basics of circuits, electronic circuits. So it's just going to cover and touch base on basically the basics of resistors, capacitors, and inductors, in series and parallel. Series and parallel. Super simple. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the humble resistor. It's pretty much one of the core items in an electric circuit. I'll talk about why later in different circuits classes, online tutorials. So the general thing with a resistor is it's resisting the flow of current, thus increasing. It's kind of almost like, if you want to view it as a pipe, say here's a pipe with electricity flowing through it. Well, what happens when a pipe with, say, low pressure gets into a narrower pipe like this? The pressure increases, but in this case the voltage increases, but the amount of water flowing through it stays the same. So that's kind of, so the voltage increases. Yeah, and that's pretty much how resistors work. Capacitors are unique. There's an electromotive force between two plates, and then it holds a charge between the two plates. So that's kind of cool. And then an inductor also kind of has similar properties in a sense to a capacitor, that there's a coil, and then the coil interacting will cause a magnetic field / induction field, and from there, that induction field, it can store energy. Not as instantaneously as a capacitor, but it can store energy, and same with a capacitor, stores energy. So I probably should explain to you how they work in series and parallel. So a resistor, say in series, say you have a circuit like this. This is the symbol for a resistor. 5 ohm and another 5 ohm. What's the resistance total? Is equal to 25, 0, 5, what is it? So basically when they're in series, so when they go from tip to tip to tip, so they just go in a series, they add. So in this case, it's just 10 ohms. So that's a series circuit. I would definitely reference, if you don't know the difference between series and a parallel, I would reference another YouTube video. I've made one that kind of just shows a general hunch of how they work. It's not super specific, but there are other tutorials online that will give you more specific about it. Compared to, now we're going to talk about it in parallel. So say you have a circuit, and say you have a resistor here and a resistor here. So let's say it's a 1/2 ohm, or actually let's go 2 ohms and 2 ohms. What's the total resistance of this circuit? Some people think, oh, okay, well it's just 4. But in this case, resistors don't add together in parallel. They add, but they add in a different way, where it becomes, the formula is 1 over the total resistance equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over Rx. So however many R values there are. In this case, the R values for R1 and R2 are both 2. So it's going to be 1 over R total is equal to 1/2 plus 1/2, which is equal to 1. So and then since this is RT, so it's 1 over RT equals 1 over 1. But if you do the reciprocal of this and this, it's still just 1. So your resistance in this case is equal to 1 ohm parallel. Now we're going to move on to capacitors in series. So a capacitor in series, believe it or not, behaves in the same form as a resistor in parallel. So say we have two C1, C2. These two capacitors in series are actually going to be 1 over 5 let's say millihenry. Or no, we're not doing millihenry, shoot. Farad, UF. I'm having a brain fart. UF. So that's going to be 1 over 5 UFs, 1 over 5 UFs. So that's 2/5, so then you flip that reciprocal, so it's going to be 5/2 UF microfarad. So they perform or act the same but in reverse. In the same way, if you have two capacitors in parallel, say let's make them both 5 UFs again, you just add these together, so it'd be 5 plus 5 equals 10 microfarads. Okay, so they behave, so capacitors behave opposite to resistors in series and parallel. So that's basically the key thing you need to take away. Capacitors behave opposite to resistors in series and parallel. So really all you need to learn and know by heart is that how resistors work, because then if you know how the resistors work, you can just do the opposite for the capacitors. Now we're finally going to move on to the last one, which here comes the big shocker of them all. Inductors are not special at all. They behave exactly the same as a resistor in series and parallel. So if, let's say, two inductors, 5 millihenry, 10 millihenry, that's equal to 15 millihenry. It works the exact same. Or say you have two of these, let's do 1/2, let's do 2 again, 2 millihenry. So what's 1 over half plus 1 over half, so 1/2 equals 1. 1 over 1 reciprocal is equal to 1, so that's going to be 1 millihenry. So basically, if you know how to do a resistor circuit, you're going to be able to do a capacitor circuit in series and parallel, and you'll also be able to do an inductor circuit in series and parallel. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks. Comments are open, so if you want to, I don't know, ask questions, you can put them in the chat. Appreciate the views, appreciate the subs. Thanks for watching.